World War I wasn't just fought with rifles and trenches, it was a battlefield of secret weapons and deadly innovations. From the ghastly clouds of poison gas to the thunderous roar of armoured behemoths, each weapon changed the nature of battle. Join me today as we uncover 40 secret weapons that changed history and our capacity for destruction. Imagine looking up at the sky, expecting the usual sight of biplanes buzzing overhead. Instead, you see tiny, dart-like projectiles raining down. These were flechettes, small steel darts dropped from planes to impale enemy soldiers. They were silent, deadly, and nearly impossible to see until it was too late. Deployed mainly by the French and British air forces, these tiny terrorizers were designed to penetrate helmets and cause maximum damage. In the hellish expanse of no man's land, exposing even a fraction of your body above the trench line could mean instant death. Enter the periscope rifle, an ingenious invention that allowed soldiers to fire over the trenches without exposing themselves. Using mirrors and a modified rifle, soldiers could aim and shoot while staying safely below the trench line. Australian soldier Lance Corporal William Beach created this life-saving device in 1915. The trenches of World War I were not just battlegrounds, but also venues for covert operations. Silenced pistols, equipped with early suppressors, became essential tools for silent assassinations. These weapons allowed soldiers and spies to eliminate targets without drawing attention. The British were particularly adept at using silenced pistols for special operations, infiltrating enemy lines to gather intelligence or sabotage critical targets. In the claustrophobic confines of trench warfare, close-range weapons were a necessity. Trench shotguns, with their devastating firepower, quickly earned a fearsome reputation. These weapons could clear a trench in seconds. The US Army's Model 1897 trench gun was so effective that Germany protested its use as inhumane. The quest for greater firepower led to the development of early automatic rifles like the French Chauchat. These early attempts were game changers, providing infantry with unprecedented firepower. However, they had flaws. The Chauchat was notorious for jamming. Despite this, they marked a leap in weapon technology, laying the groundwork for future innovations, highlighting the drive to increase battlefield lethality. Mustard gas is one of the horrors of World War I. It was not just a killer, it was a torturer, causing severe blisters, blindness and respiratory damage. Introduced by the Germans in 1917, it became feared. Mustard gas lingered, contaminating trenches and equipment. Its terror changed warfare forever. Before mustard gas, there was chlorine gas, the first chemical weapon used in World War I. The Germans unleashed it at the Second Battle of Ypres in 1915, causing mass panic and casualties. Chlorine gas turned the air into a lethal weapon. It formed hydrochloric acid in the lungs, leading to a slow, agonizing death. Chlorine gas marked a horrifying new chapter in warfare. If chlorine gas was a blunt instrument, phosgene gas was a scalpel. Nearly undetectable and far deadlier, phosgene caused most chemical weapon fatalities in World War I. Introduced by the Germans in 1915, it was a silent killer, causing respiratory failure within hours of exposure. To maximize the effectiveness of chemical attacks, specialized devices called gas sprayers were developed. These machines could disperse poison gas over wide areas, turning entire sections of the battlefield into deadly traps. Gas sprayers were often used in conjunction with artillery, creating a lethal combination that decimated enemy forces. As chemical weapons became more prevalent, the need for effective protective gear grew urgent. Early gas-proof suits were developed to shield soldiers from poison gas, but they were often cumbersome and ineffective. Despite their flaws, gas-proof suits represented a critical step in the evolution of military protective gear. They highlighted the constant struggle between offensive and defensive technologies, a battle that continues to this day. The Mark I tank was a game-changer in World War I, introducing a new era of armoured warfare. Designed to crush barbed wire and cross trenches, these behemoths brought a new level of mobility and firepower to the battlefield. Though slow and prone to mechanical failures, the Mark 1 tank proved the concept of armoured warfare, paving the way for future innovations. While the Mark 1 tank was an armoured behemoth, the Whippet tank was designed for speed and mobility. Introduced by the British in 1917, the Whippet was faster and more agile, allowing it to exploit breaches in enemy lines. The Whippet tank represented a shift in tank design, focusing on mobility as well as firepower. The French Saint-Chamond tank was a heavily armed but ultimately flawed design. Introduced in 1917, it was equipped with a powerful 75mm gun, making it one of the most heavily armed tanks of the war. However, its design was plagued with issues, including poor mobility and mechanical unreliability. The Schneider CA-1 was one of France's first armoured vehicles, designed to break through enemy lines and support infantry attacks. Introduced in 1917, it was equipped with a 75mm gun and machine guns, providing significant firepower. Despite its flaws, the Schneider CA-1 played a crucial role in the development of armoured warfare. The A-7V tank was Germany's only tank designed to see action in World War I. Heavily armoured and armed with a 57mm Maxim Nordenfeldt gun, it was a formidable opponent on the battlefield. Despite its limitations, the A-7V tank represented Germany's efforts to counter the Allied tank threat. Flamethrowers were one of the most terrifying weapons of World War I, capable of unleashing streams of fire on enemy trenches. These weapons were used primarily by German forces, creating a psychological and physical impact on the battlefield. The introduction of flamethrowers marked a new level of brutality in warfare, highlighting the lengths to which armies would go to achieve victory. The Mills bomb, or Mills grenade, was the first modern hand grenade, introduced by British forces in 1915. Its design featured a segmented body, allowing it to fragment upon explosion and cause maximum damage. The Mills bomb quickly became a staple of trench warfare, providing soldiers with a powerful and portable explosive weapon. German stick grenades, often referred to as potato mashers due to their distinctive shape, were designed for easier throwing. Introduced in 1915, these grenades featured a wooden handle, allowing soldiers to throw them further and with greater accuracy. The stick grenade became a symbol of German infantry, providing a reliable and effective explosive weapon. The Livens projector launched massive poison gas attacks on enemy trenches. Developed by British engineer William Livens, it fired large gas canisters, creating deadly clouds. Extensively used in later stages of the war, it marked a grim chapter in chemical warfare. Underground mines were a devastating weapon used to surprise and destroy enemy trenches. Engineers would tunnel beneath enemy lines, planting massive explosives that could obliterate entire sections of the battlefield. The detonation of these mines created enormous craters, causing chaos and destruction. Zeppelin bombers were giant airships used by Germany to bomb cities and military targets. These massive airships could carry significant bomb loads, allowing them to strike deep behind enemy lines. The use of Zeppelin bombers marked the beginning of strategic bombing in warfare, demonstrating the potential of air power to influence the outcome of conflicts. The Fokker synchronization gear was a revolutionary invention that allowed machine guns to fire through the spinning propellers of an aircraft. Developed by Dutch engineer Anthony Fokker, this device gave German pilots a significant advantage in aerial combat. The synchronization gear transformed fighter planes into deadly weapons, capable of taking down enemy aircraft with precision. Rocket-powered bombs were early attempts at guided aerial explosives, designed to increase the accuracy and range of bombing attacks. These experimental weapons were developed by both the Allies and Central Powers. representing the cutting edge of military technology. While not widely used, they laid the groundwork for future advancements in guided munitions.